The whole meeting to order is Monday, October 24th. It is 3:37 p.m. Councilors, have you had a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a motion for approval?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The minutes from the October 11th meeting have passed. Next is consideration of the consent agenda. Councilors, do you have any items you'd like to place on consent? Council Abbott.
I suggest we place item 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 25 on consent.
Madam President, do you have any items you'd like to place on
I
consent?
don't have any additional items, thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna go through them one more time. So items 6 and 7 on page 2. Items 10 and 11 on page 3. Items 12 and 13 on page 4. Items 14, 15, and 16 on page 5. Items 17 and 19 on page 6. Items 20, 21, 22, 23 on page 7. And then item 25 on page 8. Is that correct?
Yes. I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The consent agenda passes. So if your item was placed on consent, you're good to go. Have a good day. Okay, first item number 4, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a loan agreement with Caroline Matafa D/B/A Saphir. I'm so sorry, I'm about to mess this up. Barbara and Kellen Matafa individually, under which Barbara and Kellen have applied for a community development block grant, small business revolving loan in the amount of $30,730.91 for a term of 10 years to provide financing for furnishings and equipment and related soft costs to establish a men's barber concept to be located in Central City at 213 25th Street, North Birmingham. The loan will be secured by furnishings and equipment and a personal loan guarantee.
Move the item.
Second.
Hi, Corey.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Corey Stallworth, I serve as Senior Deputy Director of Community Development, as well as I have Larisha Higginbottom with me as well that works on our small business loans.
Okay. Councilors, do you have any questions? Councilor Abbott?
Is this working? I think it is. I don't recall seeing loans for furnishings and equipment and soft cost in the past. So if this business fails after 3 years, what are we going to do with this furniture and equipment that we're going to get back?
Yeah, so of course the idea is that it doesn't fail.
Well, of course that's the idea, but...
Yeah, but in the event that the loan is defaulted on, of course there's a personal guarantee by Mr. Matafa himself, which allows us to collect monies back on the loan as well.
Okay, so we're safe no matter what
Yes.
is purchased.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's just further teeth of enforcement for
Yeah,
collection.
well, that was my question. Of course, we want every business to thrive and do wonderfully well, but we have pandemics and all kinds of things that come in and ruin people's fun. So thank you for that information.
Okay. Thank you, Madam
I
President.
don't have any questions, thank you.
Okay, I don't have any questions either. Was there a motion and a second?
Yes.
There was a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The item passes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Next item is item number 5, an agreement with Red Mountain Theater Company Incorporated, under which Red Mountain Theater Company will agree to make its facilities available free to the public for cultural events and training in an amount not to exceed $75,000 for its 2022 to 2023 fiscal year.
Move the item.
Second.
We'll bring up Mr. Keith Conwell, Executive Director of Red Mountain Theater Company.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Madam President, do you have any questions?
Well, I just wanted to just get a little bit more understanding of what type of events or what's for the space to be used for and the type of organization.
Absolutely. I think you know from our, this is loud. I think you know from our 43-year history, we are dedicated to working with kids. And so just seeing the number of young people that are coming through our facility, but also the increased number of teaching artists that we're able to place out into the Birmingham City school systems is pretty remarkable. We see kids in 72 different zip codes, which I think is one of the most remarkable statistics we've built over the last 20 years. The facility also is really becoming what we had dreamed of it to be post-pandemic, a place for the community to gather. So we're seeing the Rotary, we're seeing various nonprofits utilizing the facility to advance their mission and to further assist and help our constituents in the community. Our Human Rights New Works Festival continues to extol various service organizations that most of the public may not know about. So it's in those areas where I think we're having the deepest effect. We provide literally thousands of tickets through the Mayor's Division of Youth Services and offer extensive professional development for the school systems, for the teachers, which has really been making a huge difference.
Well, I am happy to hear that because I know how important the arts are to children. You even think about arts, music, that type of thing. It even helps with conflict resolution, coping, just adds so much to students' lives. I am happy to see that component of the children in there, as well as making the facility, through the use of the tickets and things, an opportunity for maybe people who would not otherwise be able to have an opportunity to view that type of art or be a part of that type of theater. So thank you.
Absolutely.
That's my only question.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Abbott?
Yeah, I was a little bit confused by the description that you were going to make your facilities available to the public for free. And I thought, well, can anybody just call you up and ask you to use your facilities
No, ma'am.
for free for
No, ma'am.
cultural events and training?
I think obviously we're going to be specific to where there is need. I really believe that we try to listen to the community and listen to the city and listen to where the needs are and where we can meet the needs. We like to pay for buses to bring students down from the school systems, and we seek funding from various resources to help us provide free services. And then on the flip side, we obviously have to have an earned revenue model. So all of our shows help with that, our tuition helps with that, and our venue rental to for-profit and corporate organizations for events.
So, but all of the events that will be at your facility, you will control them and manage them. It won't just be somebody using your facility.
No, ma'am.
This is all you're doing, not the public's doing.
That's right. Well, yes, and for instance, the Kalat Jewish Family Services recently, just this past weekend, hosted an author who had written a book about his son who had committed suicide. And that kind of an event where we want to work with another service organization and provide the space where a conversation like that can happen in a much more inviting, if you will, atmosphere and in a more presentational mode. That's a good example.
Good, thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for your support all the years.
Yeah. Anybody have any more questions? Everybody's good? Okay. Well, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. That item passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Next item number 8, an ordinance to amend the general fund budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023 by appropriating $695,306 to non-departmental, the landing per incentive agreement. Funding source is occupational tax revenue.
Move the item.
Second.
Madam Chair, we request to withdraw this item.
Okay, now withdraw it. Alright, well, item number 9. An ordinance to amend the general fund budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023 by transferring $46,500 from the mayor's office grant match and appropriating $46,500 to non-departmental transfer to Fund 036 grant match and amend the grants match fund budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023 by appropriating $46,500 to AmeriCorps Vista per award received. Resolution number 1131-22.
Move the item.
Second.
So, Madam Chair, this item is just a renewal of a current grant that has been in operation since 2016. The AmeriCorps Vistas are basically a free volunteer service that pretty much serve as almost like interns for the administration to help us in different type of programmatics that we have to pretty much thrust what the mayor's vision is for the city in accordance with different types of grants and different type of allocation of programming that we may get from the federal level. In our current roster, we probably have close to 25 vistas that are pretty much surrounded around different departments from BYS to BDOT to PEP to just the mayor's office in general. It's been a very successful program over the last couple of years to where majority of the vistas that we do retain they kind of fall into becoming full-time employees of the mayor's office or in different departments that have openings or vacancies where they fill that gap. So what's before you is just a renewal of just that grant agreement that we're trying to just keep going from, like I said, from 2016.
Okay. Councilor Abbott, do you have any questions?
Yes, I would like to know how many of these AmeriCorps volunteers are assigned to the city council offices.
Currently, none.
Well, we want some.
At least one.
So, at least one or two. So, can you make that happen?
We'll make it happen. We'll try to see what other grant opportunities that the council has that can fall within the parameters of the VISTA program, yes.
I could think of a lot of things they could be working on that the rest of us don't have time for.
Yes.
And they have young brains.
And quick hands.
Mr. McDaniels.
Yes, I believe that the city council needs to be considered when we get volunteers of any sort. We at least need to be asked if we have anything that they need to work on, because we have to vote to approve this, and if we don't vote to approve it, there won't be any. I just thought I'd point that out. But I'm willing to vote for it. We just need consideration and respect. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Madam President.
Well, I think we all had planned to ask that question about consideration for the council, and I know our administrative team over there, they're acknowledging yes. I do want to ask, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, you said a good majority of those volunteers. Any percentages that you think?
I don't want to say the wrong number, but I think it's over 50%. It's almost 2 to 1. One is probably hired on as a full-time employee in a certain department, yes.
And I guess just for the future, is there anything we would have to do to make you aware of our desire?
No, I think it's just a conversation that we can have with the council administration. We just want to make sure that we're in the guidelines of the grant. That's all.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you. Just a request for one, please. It'll make our lives easier, and yours too. I think there was a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The item passes. Thank you, Chief. Next item. Okay, we gotta go switch. Flip a little bit. Okay, item 24. A professional services management agreement with Birmingham Talks Incorporated under which Birmingham Talks will provide early childhood education services to children from birth to 5 years old by executing programs for families at home and educators in child care centers. Birmingham Talks will use its award-winning curriculum and innovative talk pedometer, Fitbit for Words, that's interesting, to provide personalized coaching to bolster early literacy and kindergarten readiness across the city, and 3, service approximately 3,500 children impacting all 9 city council districts, putting Birmingham on track to be the country's largest city-level implementer of early childhood education technology. The fee for these services is not to exceed $1 million for a term of 3 years.
Move the item.
Second.
Mr. Phillips?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
To Madam Chair, President Pro Tem Smitherman, to Madam Councilor, President Alexander, to Councilor Abbott, Mayor's Administration, and also to the Council Administration, and to any members of the public in this forum or online. Good afternoon. I'm Galvin Phillips. I serve as the Director for the Department of Youth Services. I'll make a few comments and I'll yield my time over to Ruth Ann Moss and her team to make a presentation for you. Regarding our youngest citizens, ages 0 to 5, the research shows that children's academic success in early elementary grades can be attributed to the use of successful early learning and literacy programs. Important for Mayor Whitfin is the ability for Birmingham families and children to have access to early education services, becoming kindergarten ready, with social and educational skills needed to grow and learn, to become literate, read on grade level, and have the skills to attain to matriculate and graduate from high school and go on to college. For the mayor and this council is the strong belief that early literacy is a fundamental concept and component of education, and has allocated $1 million in the city's budget for early education. Before you today is a request for approval of $1 million to expand early learning services in partnership with Birmingham Talks, founded here in Birmingham in 2019 with Bloomberg Philanthropy support, and Ruth Ann Moss and her team on my left do the daily work of working with children and families and providers across all council districts with early learning initiatives. She and her team is here now to tell you more about their organization and their plans for the use of $1 million. Ruth Ann.
Thank you, Galvin, for that kind introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. You should have, I believe, these visuals right here in front of you. I'm excited to be here today along with my teammate, Raven Johnson, who you'll hear more from in a minute. We're here because we believe that literacy is the foundation for economic mobility. And we know that in our city, we have had struggles with literacy. I'm a former Birmingham City Schools teacher, and so is Raven. She'll share a little bit more about that in a moment. And what data tells us is that right now in Birmingham, 18% of third graders can read on grade level. And I like to take a minute and make that really personal. I know when I'm at Railroad Park or at the beautiful new playground at City Walk, if I see children playing on the playground and they live in Birmingham and they go to our school system, chances are 1 in 5 of them can read proficiently. And that is something that should keep all of us up at night. And I'm here because I believe that we can solve this issue in our city by investing in children early, way before they get on the big yellow bus to go to kindergarten or struggle to read in 3rd grade. And we believe that with $1 million in city funding, we can solve this issue at scale in all 99 neighborhoods across all 9 council districts. And so moving to page 3, slide 3, I'll tell you a little bit about our organization. Birmingham Talks was founded in 2019 by the City of Birmingham, Bloomberg Philanthropies, and the Overton Project. We're actually the only program in the state that's an early literacy intervention that uses quantifiable data. And over the past 3 years, we've worked across all 9 city council districts to increase kindergarten readiness for over 1,000 children under 5. And you may be wondering, what does it look like to increase kindergarten readiness for a child under 5? I'm going to turn that over to my colleague, Raven Johnson, to share a little bit more.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, I'm Raven Johnson. I'm the program director at Birmingham Talks. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about the power of talk. And so I appreciate the opportunity to share the power of talk with you all. The power of talk is truly the driving force behind all of our programs at Birmingham Talks. I'll share a little bit about my teaching experience. I taught here in the city in District 6 at the Arthur Harold Parker High School. And if you know anything about Parker High School, then you know it is a school of rich tradition, rich history, rich legacy, but it's also unfortunately where I saw the consequences and very real implications of children who start school behind. And so in my experience, what I found is that children who start school behind, they tend to stay behind. And so at Birmingham Talks, we empower caregivers to provide their children with high interactive talk environments by way of curriculum, by way of resources, tips, tools, and strategies for them to do so. So children need to hear 21,000 words a day for optimal brain development. To give you some context around what we're dealing with here in Birmingham, 92% of the children that have come through our program at Birmingham Talks have started in a low talk environment where they're hearing less words than that. And so what that means is there are children in our city showing up to kindergarten on day one and they are not prepared to be there. But fortunately, we know at Birmingham Talks that the power of talk can truly shift this reality for children in our city. And so interactive talk doesn't just encompass the adult words that children are hearing, it also encompasses conversational turns. And so conversational turns are defined as the verbal interaction between human beings. If I were to say something and Ruth Ann responded to me and then I responded back, that's a conversational turn. And research has taught us that those conversational turns are 6 times, I'll say that again, those conversational turns are 6 times more impactful than children simply hearing adult words alone. And so at Birmingham Talks, we don't only stress to talk to children, but to talk with children. And we also provide resources and tools for caregivers to do so, like books and educational toys that really promote and encourage that conversation and that participation between caregiver and child. And so it's as simple as this. The more words and the more conversational turns a child is engaged in and exposed to with their caregivers, the more prepared they are for not only kindergarten, but for 3rd grade when they start taking those state tests and for life in general. And so if you'll move to page 4 of your deck, I'll tell you how we use this power of talk, because that's the point here. How we use this power of talk to really drive caregivers and their children toward outcomes. And so here, I have a Lena vest. It is from our Winter 22 collection, so this is very exclusive. This is just for y'all. And so inside this vest is a device that looks a little bit like a pager. I might be aging myself here, but it looks a little bit like a pager. And so this device, we call it a Fitbit for words. And we call it a Fitbit for words because like a Fitbit counts steps to improve health, this device counts conversations and words to improve literacy. And so children and their caregivers use this device and this vest for a full day. And once this device is uploaded to our online software, that data from the device is downloaded into a user-friendly report for caregivers. So they're able to internalize these reports, process them, really sit with them, and then they have a conversation, specifically a coaching conversation with a trained coach from our team to literally impact the times of the day when their children are talking the most and impact the times of the day when their children are talking the least so that they can improve and increase the literacy. So if we'll move to page 5, all I have left to say is that we know our program works at Birmingham Talks. The numbers show us that our program works. Children who start in low talk environments where they're hearing less than that 21,000 words a day have increased their conversational talk or their interactive talk with caregivers by 50%. And so what that means is there are caregivers in our city that are talking more with their kids. There are kids in our city that are hearing more words. There are kids in our city that are having conversations with caregivers. And their chances of showing up to kindergarten ready to be there on day 1 have increased. What we also know is 88% of families that have come through our program thus far have increased their reading time. And so they're engaged in literature with children who aren't even formally trained to read. And that is fostering lifelong learners for our city, and that's also fostering lifelong literacy for our city. That's not just a win for kids and caregivers, that's a win for our city. And so these are simply the results from the almost 1,000 kids we've served thus far up until this point at Birmingham Talks. And so I'm imagining the possibilities for Birmingham if we were to scale this program up, but I'm also asking you to imagine the possibilities for not just kids in our city, not just caregivers, not just K through 12 schools, but for our future workforce development in this city if we're able to scale this program up and truly expand our impact. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share with you. I'm going to pass it back over to Ruth Ann.
Thanks, Raven. Yeah, so whenever we started thinking about the last 3 years at Birmingham Talks, two things became really clear. Exactly as Raven just shared, it became really clear that the program works, that children are increasing their interactive talk and kindergarten readiness. The other thing that happened, and this got us both really excited, is it became really clear that our community wants this program. This past spring, we had 3 families raise their hand and say, I'm interested in programs for every 1 spot we had available in our family program. We've also had wait lists, hundreds of children long at different points over the past year for our professional development program for child care centers. And so we think when those two things are at play, whenever something works and it's clear that a community wants it, then it's time to think about scaling it. And so if you can look at page 7, you can see a little bit about how we would plan to use city funds to scale this initiative. City funds would be deployed across all 9 council districts to serve over 3,000 children over the next 3 years. This would happen in multiple different modalities. We would work in center-based childcare. We'd also serve family childcare homes that have been licensed by DHR to care for children. We'd partner with city agencies like DYS, the Birmingham Public Library, Parks and Rec, and we'd also continue to execute and grow these family groups that we provide for caregivers. We like to call them family groups, not parent groups, because they're also for grandparents or aunts or whoever might be taking care of a child for the majority of the day. And then, like we do over and over, we'd also give away a lot of high-quality books. And so you've heard from me and Raven about why we think this is important, but we think it's even more powerful to hear from actual constituents and people who have been through the program. So if you'll turn to page 8, I'm not going to read all these quotes, but you can see from parents and child care center directors across all 9 council districts why this is something that is important and meaningful to them, and why many of them have shared that not only did they experience positive things in the program, but that they want to make sure that their neighbors, their friends, and their family members are able to access this as well. And so I'll leave you with this. Our deepest belief at our organization is that children in Birmingham deserve the very best from the very beginning. We think that Birmingham could be the best city in the country to raise a child under 5, because somewhere has to be that, and why couldn't it be us, right? And we know that we should invest in children early because it's the right thing to do. I don't think anyone disagrees with that. But what I'd also put forward is that it's the smart thing to do. Data shows us that for every $1 we spend on early childhood education, for children in vulnerable communities, that can deliver as much as $13 in economic returns, which if that were a stock or an I-bond, everybody would be buying it, right? And so we encourage you today to really think through what it could look like to invest in children and partner with us to ensure that Birmingham is a place where every child can grow and thrive. Thank you so much, and I'm open for any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you for that nice presentation. Madam President, do you have any questions?
Well, yes, I do. Just a couple.
Yeah.
This does sound like a very innovative program. Really, we know what we're under right now as far as wanting to be sure our 3rd graders are up to reading. But we know it doesn't just start at 3rd grade. So I appreciate very much the program. Just wanted to get into some of the details.
Absolutely.
Now, with the $1 million, you said it would service approximately 3,500 children.
Yep.
Is that with the $1 million? Is that how many have you serviced already?
So we served 1,000 children over the past 3 years, and we'd serve about 3,500. I think we can probably serve more, but at least 3,500 over the next 3.
Okay. And how are the agencies or the families selected? Mm-hmm. You say you're in all 9 districts. Mm-hmm. Does it have to be like a daycare or the family? How do you make that connection?
Mm-hmm. So we offer 2 different programs. One of them is for child care providers, so either family child care homes or child care centers. We call that program our GROW program. We offer another program that we call our START program, and that one's for families or other caregivers, so parents, grandparents. So we run both of those programs at the same time, and folks can express interest in either program at any time. We run 4 cohorts a year, so fall, winter, spring, summer, and if we're in the middle of our fall programming and you say you want to join, we say, great, we'll catch you as soon as we start our new groups in the winter. It really is first come, first served. So we have flyers, we have lots of different ways that folks can plug in. We also work very intentionally to ensure that we're doing our heaviest recruiting in lower income communities. So for example, things like training WIC nutritionists or pediatricians at UAB that serve primarily low income children to give referrals to our program.
Okay. And you said you had the 4 cohorts a year. So I'll go in with my group and then I'll complete, let's say for instance my child then gets the Fitbit, in this case it'll be like grandchild, and gets the Fitbit. And then you evaluate then, as you said, the number of conversations or the number of words the child is hearing. And then the success of that program is after you've trained the trainer or talked with the facilitator or the parent?
Yeah, so we provide coaching to caregivers. So for example, you get your first report and then you work with a trained coach to help, first of all, celebrate places that you're already doing great, because we believe in celebrating parents and caregivers. And then second of all, find places that you can strengthen that interactive conversation with your child and then get coaching on how to do that. And then we pair that with resources, right? So we also give people every week high quality educational toys and books so that they can use those things to help increase conversation. We have sessions on when you're reading a book, this is how you can go back and forth and ask questions instead of just say like, shh, that's not what's on the page, right? And so that's how it works. Every week there's that data point and then that coaching conversation.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Abbott.
Well, actually, the president asked all my questions except one, and that is about the talking Fitbit. Is that like a one-day usage? So you just test one day and then that's considered to be the baseline and you go from there?
Yes, so that first day would be the baseline, but it is a program that occurs over the course of about 3 months with a recording day every week. So there are more data points that families are getting. And so part of what they're doing is tracking their growth, right? How am I doing now 4 weeks in compared to baseline?
Oh yeah, so it can be like a contest to see who gets the most. Well,
it could be.
Do conversations child to child count, or only adults and children conversing back and forth?
So the device counts child vocalization, so number of times children say something, but what we're really emphasizing with parents and caregivers is the count of parent-child or teacher-child vocalizations, because that's what adults can really control, right? We can't control whether or not 2 children are talking to one another, but as an adult and a parent, I can control how I'm engaging with my child.
I was just curious. I would figure child-to-child conversations would not be very productive. Give me my toy back.
My 2-year-olds are not very productive, no.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you. I have a few questions. So I'm going to be honest, I have a concern because in order to improve a child's reading level, you got to stay with them for at least a year. And so I'm really concerned about, especially we saw this during the pandemic, parents had to work. And so it was the older siblings that had to teach the younger siblings that. So do you ever go back and check on them after 6 months or 3 months saying, hey, how's this going? Do y'all do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're actually, our family program, we're 2 years in with our family program. We actually just did a survey this past year to ask families, how do you want to engage with us after this program's over? And we've had a lot of parents say, please, I want to do a follow-up, I want to do a check-in. And so we're in the process right now of developing what we call a Start 2.0, which is when you've already been through the first iteration of our program, how can we have this optional alumni program that you could keep going with that's focused on the interactive talk, but we also know we're not the end-all be-all of resources, so we want to connect people with first-class pre-K. We want to connect people with high-quality childcare so that we're also building that knowledge around those things.
Oh, that's good. That's good to know. How many people are on staff? Because, you know, you're dealing with 1,000, so now you're going to get 3 times the amount of kids now.
Yeah.
So are you going to have to hire more people? How's that going to work?
Yeah, so we have really developed our model over the past few years to get a good understanding of what it looks like to staff for scale, and that's one reason why now Raven's serving in our program director role and really supervising the implementation of all the programs. We anticipate hiring 1 to 2 more people over the next couple of years, and we feel confident that that will enable us to serve that number of people.
Okay, in addition, kids with disabilities, we have to acknowledge that we do have a lot of kids with disabilities, and they're really the ones that get left behind. Like, I went to Epic, so, I kind of saw that firsthand. Are you guys trained to do that, to address that, and working with the parents?
That's a great question. So we actually, in our caregiver program, use a tool that we call a snapshot. So at the very beginning of the program, families engage with this tool that helps them rate their child's development. And so one thing we also want to do through deploying the snapshot is help some families that may not even be aware of a disability that their child might not have identify that. We're also clear that our team, we're not trained early interventionists. So what our coaches do is when they see the results of those snapshots, if we see that a child is behind where they should be developmentally, they make that referral to some of our different partners who are qualified to provide those early intervention services.
Yes, I like that a lot, because I asked some of my teachers at one of my schools, what would help you? And they were saying, we need help with those kids that are left behind, because we can't stay with them the whole time. We have to get the rest of the class. I'm really excited to hear about that. Yeah. Okay. Do you have any more questions?
I do.
Council Abbott.
So what age are you capturing these children? I mean, how old are most of the children that you're trying to have an impact on?
Well, we had somebody call us right when they got home from the hospital a couple of months ago, and we told them maybe get some sleep for a few weeks and then call us back, right? But we like to tell people 4 months old to 4 years old. By 4 months old, children are starting to babble and make noises and do things that can be captured through our technology. And then at 4 years old, we're really looking to serve children until they're at that kindergarten point. So 4 is kind of the cutoff for that. But any point between those, we always say the earlier is better, right? Because if you learn more about how to talk to your baby when they're 6 months old instead of waiting till when they're 3, that's 2.5 extra years of talk that you can capture. But we'll take children at any point between 4 months and 4 years.
Okay, so if you went to a family daycare home and they had 10 children, you would, and some were infants and some were 4. So you would deal with all of those children in that center, because it sounds like age just really doesn't matter very much.
Yep. We would do some coaching with the teachers to help the teachers understand that you're going to see more vocalizations from a 3-year-old than a 4-month-old, and that's okay. That's normal. That's developmentally appropriate. But it definitely can be used with children across that whole spectrum of ages, which is part of what makes it really perfect for family childcare, where there's those mixed age groups.
So after 4 years old, every child in Birmingham is going to kindergarten or pre-K. Is that accurate or inaccurate?
Kindergarten is still not compulsory in the state of Alabama, so it is a parent's choice whether or not to send their child to kindergarten, but most parents choose to send them to kindergarten, from my experience as a public educator.
Okay, so if you went to a family daycare home where the parents chose not to and there were 5-year-olds in there, you would still include them in the program?
Yes.
Because they're there?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And one more question. I saw in section number 5 of the agreement, you guys were required to give a report to the mayor's office. Was it every 90 days? I want to put in there that you guys give some type of report to us so we can know as well and kind of track it. If that's possible, Chief, please.
We will always share information. It didn't have to be in the kind. We will share that. That's no problem.
I have faith in you.
But you might forget.
And Mr. Phillips, but y'all can't control folks. I know it's not y'all, but we want to make sure we get the information.
No, we will definitely share whatever report is given to the administration, to the council.
Okay, because I know our constituents are always wondering about the different initiatives we're spending our money on, so we want to make sure they know it works.
Absolutely.
You got one more question?
Madam Chairman, if it isn't in writing in the contract, there's no reason to think it will get done. Sometimes even reporting that's in our contracts doesn't get received by the council. So, I kind of like your idea to actually add mayor and city council, maybe say mayor and all 9 city councilors, so that we actually have a better chance of getting something. Because, it's just easy to forget. You got a lot of stuff and you just forget to share it. I mean, we've all been there. So I kind of like your idea, and I also wanted to ask if the $1 million covers 3 years of work.
So the $1 million doesn't cover the full 3 years of program services. It'll cover about a quarter of the cost that we need for those 3 years, but we have also successfully raised private money for the past 3 years and expect to continue to do this, so this will be a public-private partnership.
Okay, so our part will be $1 million for 3 years, and then others will contribute.
Yes, we have lots of committed funders, including some national funders, which is exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why the report is so good, because when budget time comes and they question why we kept $1 million, and we tell them, okay, well, here, look at what's going on, then we can help with promotion and recruitment.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You have any questions? Council Abbott?
No, I'm good.
Well, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. The aye passes. Thank you.
Now, that was with your change, right?
Yes, please. Okay.
The contract modification language.
I said please. Item number 18. A vendor agreement with Brightly Software Incorporated, under which Brightly Software Incorporated will provide operation management software to track, account for, build, and retain a database of repairs performed, generate work orders, identify age of equipment, etc. The fee for these services is not to exceed total funds in the amount of $404,390.93, inclusive of any reimbursable expenses over the course of a term up to 3 years.
Move the item.
Second.
Mr. Yates.
Hey, Mr. Yates.
Hey, good afternoon, Committee Chair Smitherland, and council members, committee members. I'm here today to speak on item 18 with Brightly, a vendor agreement. As you know, the Department of Public Works, we've had a lot of Excel spreadsheets and a lot of handwritten notes over the years. We're ready to move forward, as we've done with several of our programs, including the electronic robots for cutting grass and things of that nature. We're looking to put an asset management system in place so that we can track, log, and take the information. Like Ms. Bell just had several facilities assessed across the city. We're responsible for over 100 facility maintenance buildings across the city of Birmingham. So this will help put everything into one system, help track it. And so even when we lose very experienced 30-year veterans in the department, we still have this data system that will carry over beyond our time here, so that we'll be able to see life cycle analysis of air conditioning equipment. We'll be able to see just an array of different facility services needs. This is specifically for and suited for our facility services division inside Public Works. Really, you know, if this goes well, we could look at expanding it in the future for construction elements as well. To be able to track and identify our work orders, and when we request funding for certain parts, instead of having to go back on email to find out where we are, will be a system there in place to kind of see that we've made the request, and we'll be able to follow up. So this is just putting a little technology into our department.
Okay. Thank you. Madam President, do you have any questions?
Yes, glad to see you catch up with technology. Just want to ask the question, our current system, is that all being tracked by paper now? Or I know you said you had to go through emails, you know, in order to get cost or see the life cycle of any of
Yes,
these?
ma'am. Current systems right now are handwritten notes, Excel spreadsheets, the data we generate for reports for a number of potholes and everything, all that's Excel spreadsheets. There's no asset management software in our department right now for that.
That explains a lot.
And this is an outside vendor. Will they bring someone in to do the work for us? And is there training that would be involved? Or how many people will actually be running this?
So this is for the software, and they'll provide support. They'll also provide training. We are looking at doing a lot of data entry ourselves. With Ms. Bell just completed at least 30 facility assessment reports, includes ADA items and other items as well. This will be able to put into this system so that we're able to track it, and also not just life cycle, but also looking at the cost. So if we're spending $50,000, $60,000 on one of our chillers 1 year, then we'll know that, you know, this one's costing us a lot more money than maybe even something that's even a little bit older. So we'll be able to look at a full analysis on our system and help our facility services team.
I guess I wonder, with it being a software system, is it cloud-based or is it's just something that would
I believe this is cloud-based, but I'll have to get you a response.
Probably everything is now. Maybe showing my age. What you're talking about a beeper, because I think everything is cloud-based.
Most everything is these
Okay,
days.
perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Council Abbott.
Okay, so this is primarily for your facilities management, but that doesn't include all of the equipment that's out cutting grass and maintaining rights of way and, all those other things y'all do. And in the past, there's been a great deal of loss of small equipment that's easily carried off. So how are y'all dealing with keeping up with all of the, the things that are on the trucks, the weed eaters and the blowers and the stuff?
So we do have a report that goes out daily that talks about our equipment usage and what we have loaned out to our employees and things of that nature. That is more on the Excel backup right now, but I know Director Roberts as well has software for equipment management, and he keeps a log with repairs and things of that nature. This would not touch the equipment side for horticulture. If it is successful moving forward, we could look to implement more assets on it. But one of the things Director McClendon and I just had a conversation on was we want to make sure that whatever system we're utilizing, that we integrate it across everywhere, so we don't have different systems each division. So we are looking at if it's successful, moving it to the other divisions as well.
Well, I know it's a big undertaking because having been here so long, all the different directors of the department have come and tried to explain how, one of them even told me one time they didn't ever lose any equipment, but I knew that was not exactly the truth. But keeping up with all our stuff, we have a lot of stuff, and the taxpayers have paid for all of it. So, it's always so great if we know where it is and don't have to go buy some more. And I also wanted to ask you, all of the hand-type equipment, do we do our own repairs like we do for vehicles, or we do?
Yes, ma'am. Director Roberts does all of our repairs for us, and the small engine stuff has asset numbers just like our trucks or garbage trucks or our large equipment. So the zero-turn mowers, the chainsaws, the weed eaters. In fact, when one is broken or stolen, it's brought up to come through us for a process of abuse if we need to look at that, and other areas as well. So we do identify those assets, and we track them as well.
Good. Thank you.
Madam President? Either? Okay. Well, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. The item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think this is our last item. Item number 26, a housing investment partnerships program and development agreement between the City of Birmingham and Housing Reinvestment Corporation of America, under which Housing Reinvestment Corporation of America will be awarded funds under the Home Investment Partnerships Program and the American Rescue Plan Act for the purpose of, number one, constructing 16 affordable single-family new construction units in the Woodlawn community. Number two, on-site infrastructure improvements. And number three, mortgage assistance for the development of the project for an amount not to exceed $892,182.
Move the item.
Second.
Hi.
Good afternoon again. Corey Stallworth, Senior Deputy Director of Community Development. And so the item before you today is a continuation of our partnership with NCRC. HRCA is their nonprofit arm. And so if you recall, we have a partnership with them to build 200 homes across the city over the next 3 years. Of course, our first stop was in Bellevue Heights, where we constructed 27 homes at an investment of $20 million into that neighborhood. And so our request today is to recommend funding HRCA $892,182 to develop 16 new homes on scattered lots along 49th Street North and 2nd Avenue North in the Woodlawn neighborhood, specifically around I-3 Academy. And so we see that this new construction development will bring life back to these once blighted and vacant properties around this vibrant school. All of the proposed homes will be affordable, and our buyers are required to be at 80% or below of the area median income. The total development cost for the project is around $3.7 million. And of course, our requested subsidy from NCRC is a little bit over $800,000, which helps to fill the financing gap to make this project come into fruition. So there's just a short overview of the proposed development, and I will entertain any questions.
Okay. Council Abbott, do you have any questions?
Now, you said NCRC was committed to building how many?
200 homes.
200. Okay, so we've got 27 that are completed and 16 that are on the way.
16 on the way, and we got a couple of more stops to make too.
Okay,
So we'll-
and how do you decide where you're going to build the homes? Is it where the city has land, or where the land bank has land, or how
Yeah.
do you decide where to go?
So that's really it. We look at what assets we already have first, which includes, of course, our city-owned property and land bank property, because as you know, any land costs add to the cost that will go towards the potential home buyer. So we try to lessen that by providing land that we already own. And so in this case, a lot of these properties, some of them were land bank properties.
And one other thing, do we ever renovate a house that's just dilapidated, or do we just start fresh with brand new?
Yeah, so we do renovations as well, and actually this project will include some renovations. So it'll be a mixture of new homes and probably about 3 renovations.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Madam President, do you have any questions?
Well, I do just want to, I'm grateful for this program. I do want to see it go further into other areas. I know we have blight just about in every neighborhood, some more than others. So I know that there have been some talks in my area about potentially having some type of program like this. So just want to say, I guess I wanted to do the math along with Counselor. So you said 27 plus 16, so we still have several more hundreds that we can go into.
157
Thank you
more.
for the math. All right,
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all.
Is there a plan or a proposed plan for the other 157 homes? Or are there guidelines for this? Like, is it like, does it have to be around a school, all the homes? No.
No, so our developer partner, we do look for areas where we can scale up in development, so do more than the 3s at a time. So we're looking for areas where we can possibly bring in 20 or even 50. So one of the next developments that we would like to bring before the council is Shadowbrook. You all are familiar with that site in Pratt City. So there's an opportunity to do up to 50 homes there. And there are some other locations in various districts that we're looking at right now. I believe we shared that listing too before early on, but we're going to keep you all updated because we want to really get feedback from you all as well as the neighborhood associations on what developments fit within the neighborhoods. And so we have it tentatively planned out, the 150, but we're still working through the plans for that.
Can you resend that list? Because I don't remember that. Not saying you
Sure.
didn't send them out.
I don't remember it either, so maybe send it to all 9 of us.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about in particular like Hemp Hill Elementary. There are a lot of abandoned houses near the school, and it really worries me because I've seen little bitty kids walking by these houses. So I was just thinking about West End in particular, all that blight, and having that school in particular. But I-3 does have a lot of really bad looking homes that are around. It really brings down even the school itself. So I'm really excited to see it. Yeah. Okay. Council Abbott, do you have any more questions?
I'm good.
Madam President?
I just want to know, because this is ARPA, I know there was maybe been counselors that wanted to go through this type of program with the use of their dollars. Would it come through this type of process? Okay, thank you. So we'll be looking.
All right.
Thank you.
Excited about it.
Oh, yeah, very excited. Okay, well, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
There isn't any old new business.
Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I have one little bit of new business, but it's
Okay.
really simple.
Okay.
It's just for our committee to require in the description a sentence or two that explains what the benefit is to the city of whatever it is we're spending money on. Because I believe if we understood that, it might eliminate some of the items that don't make it to consent. If we just understood, for instance, all of the software that we approved today, I'd like to know what it's doing for us. I mean, I'm glad we're getting some, but I don't know what it's accomplishing. And I think it would be good for council members to understand what improvement is going to happen in the city of Birmingham because of this expenditure of funds. So I would have to work on some kind of wording for the question that needs to be answered every time somebody sends something in. But it seems that if we could understand what is the benefit, what's this getting for us, we might be more efficient. Wouldn't that be amazing?
It would be.
I think that's a good suggestion.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah, because sometimes you read them and you just go, what is it?
Benefit.
And see, we wouldn't have to ask if we were provided the information up front. Then we wouldn't irritate Mr. Mitchell so much.
No, he'll still be irritated. Okay, well, I'll make sure to take that in consideration. Okay. The next Budget and Finance, Madam President,
I'm done.
did you have something?
No, ma'am.
Okay. The next Budget and Finance Committee meeting will be Monday, November 14th at 3:30 p.m. Is there a motion for adjournment?
Move for adjournment. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.